Welcome to Unmuted by GosuGamers, a podcast that takes a closer look at the esports world. In every episode, the crew will be diving into the biggest news topics, hot things that happened in the recent days. And I'm happy today to be joined by Christy Pandora, my colleague, and Garter, who has so much insight or better understanding of what just happened in the shuffle or in the shuffles in general. Welcome, guys, and how are you?
Thank you. I am good. Thanks for inviting me. It's been wanting to come for a while, but just couldn't quite make it because of the sleeping schedule or whatever. And now here I am.
Well,
Glad
it's
to be
very
here.
nice to have you.
Thank you.
So, Pandora, have you been surprised in any way about this shuffle? What just happened this week?
Yeah, well, it's funny because we really needed a big shakeup, I think. And especially we had a year off, or at least severely interrupted. And then we just had last year. So this was kind of, I think, expected that it would be big. But because it was so quiet for so long, I started to wonder what was happening. And then when it hit, it definitely threw quite some surprises my way. I was really not expecting some of the roster changes. There were rumors, and some of those rumors, did come to fruition and some didn't. And even the ones that you kind of had heard and thought might happen were still surprising to see when it laid out in the end. So I am definitely, excited to see, I guess, how this DPC season is going to play out. I think there's going to be a lot of shifts in what we've seen as some of the top teams in terms of orgs or players than we've had so far. And I think that's kind of the most exciting part. I'm excited about that. I think most of all, more than saying one specific roster or seeing how they go, it's just kind of how all of the cards are going to fall this season.
Before we go into like specifics, Garter, do you feel like, because we all three kept track of what happened, and some teams you might know some rumors, you might not been so surprised to see it, but looking at it, some rosters like almost make no sense, or you wonder why that happened that way. This is for me, of course. We're going to go into specific that later, but do you have the feeling like this shuffle, I don't know, happened a bit randomly or something after 2 years?
I just am not entirely sure, like, what was the base of selecting some of the players. Like, I don't want to go into detail until you guys are ready, but basically, like, some of the rosters, like, you went and picked a carry player to make him an offlane player, while you already had an offlane player that's world champ.
Pretty good.
And yeah, exactly. So it just made no sense. I understand a lot of things play into making the team, such as, for example, like if I'm a captain of the team, I usually am like, all right, we need one semi-shot caller that helps me with the call and also helps me with the draft, and one guy who gets or makes a tons of space inside the game, and so on and so forth. Like there's these chess figures you build around. I just can't see some of the teams, like, how did they come to this conclusion that these guys are good for the game? And a small example I can take from is the EG. Like, these guys have way too many superstars in their team, and sadly, like, in a 5-man roster, not everyone can shine. And these guys are kind of all made to shine.
So is it the like whole power of friendship thing, kind of supersedes what works best for the team sometimes? Or you think that it's like a team spirit effect where people are like, hey, let's get a whole bunch of new blood, new players, and maybe we too can see the same results that Team Spirit had? Or is it, just recycling through the same players, the same things, trying to figure out what to change because people are so stuck in, well, we have to, like, I always want to play with this person, I always end up playing with this person or things, and shake it up? Like, what about it?
The problem is that there's actually not new blood type of a scenario here, except for OG. Like, For example, for OG, they have this Space, Hansha, and ATF, right? But these are the only 3 new players that someone got in the team. EG, Liquid, Alliance, Team Secret, everyone else pretty much just shuffled within. Like,
Well,
we
but
took some
Alliance
EG players
has
and we took, these other
Alliance
guys.
has Supreme and Aramis though, who were
Yes,
kind
but
of
these
Division
guys are,
2 and stuff.
yes, true, but these are not young players. So, like, for example, I remember Supreme and Aramis playing for at least 8 years plus. So this is not necessarily fresh blood, right? It's like if I
If you
join
want,
Team Secret tomorrow and be like, all right, this guy is fresh blood. It's not really. I mean, it might be fresh to the tier 1 scene, but that doesn't necessarily make it fresh blood, right?
yeah, if you want, I mean, maybe you can tell us a bit more. It's the Virtus Pro. They just had, one of them. It's 16 or 17 years old. The carry.
Yes.
I guess
Depressed
that's
kid,
more
right?
fresh. Yes. No.
No, because he went to
Me.
EG now.
Yeah. No, they
Oh, you
have
mean the epileptic kid,
the
which is
epileptic.
Nightfall now? Yes.
He went to EG,
Yes.
but
As an
Virtus Pro,
offlane.
yes, but the new Virtus Pro right now has a 7-year-old Pure. His name is Pure.
Ah, okay, I see.
So I think he is the more fresh blood in this shuffle. He has only ESL one fall open qualifiers played as professional or as professional as, and
Well,
then they have.
I mean, it's kind of obvious that all the new blood, all the fresh people are going to come from CS region, though, because it's one of the most active rosters or places in Dota. So you just expect from them to come like that. I mean, even Ramses and these guys are still pretty young, meaning like
Yeah.
Dota has always been overly cultivated in CS region. But I meant more like from the Europe side of the region, since I
Got it.
also play here and know pretty much every player. But I mean, there
Because you
might be good
play.
thing. Yeah, there might be good things coming out of these guys, like the Pure Guy and stuff.
Mhm.
But I honestly don't know them well. Haven't played versus or with them enough to make a correct judgment in a sense and be like, yeah, this guy is definitely.
I
Because,
want to
like,
also.
example, when I saw Yatoro play in pubs, I literally told my team, I was like, guys, listen, this guy is so damn good. You don't understand. And back when I was watching him, this was pre-TI. But it takes 2 games of player perspective for me to understand how a carry player should and thinks. And I see this guy building anti-mage with Echo Saber third item and some E-Blade and creative items, and I'm like, dude, this guy is good. Listen to me, listen to me. And then at my house, we watch finals, and these guys just pick every pick I suggest, and it's happiness inside. Like you're so happy to see these type of new players just shine so hard.
Yeah, I mean, Team Spirit story is just absolutely amazing. You can't take anything from them from this win. They, yeah, but because you have so much experience, like playing competitively, playing with these players, many times going through shuffles yourself and having to build teams and rosters and everything. Do you agree? I mean, there's this consensus or people talking that some shuffles, some teams, most of the teams happen the way they happen because a group of players want to play in that formula, and it doesn't matter for who they play, what organization is behind. So they do everything possible to play in that, group that they have in mind. Just look at Elephant last year. Uh, do you think like this plays a big role or played a big role in this particular shuffle post TI10?
Yes, I mean, this has always been the case in Dota 2, sadly, that certain players want to play with certain players, and the org basically just says, sure, go ahead and do it. I don't know, it's been always like the ups and downs of the Dota scene, right? Because you have a guy who goes to TI party and I don't, and he gets into the team with these friends, which usually last a couple months, and then it's not so good. But I mean, there's ups and downs to this. I played League 1.5 years and actually got to see the other side of the spectrum. Like, org wants you, and it doesn't matter too much if you don't want to go or something. If the offer is tempting, you go, even though you might not have the best people to play with. And they both have their ups and downs, honestly. But yeah, in Dota is 100% like what the players want. That's it.
And with that in mind, should we go touch every region, Pandora, and see what are the big conclusions there? Or
Yeah, we probably easiest to start here in Europe, I would say. There was easiest, I guess, but I mean, is not the word. But there's a ton that happened in Europe, I think. This is where we're going to see a huge shakeup. We have Team Liquid's new roster, which is Matumba Man, Mickey, Boxy, Zion, and Sania. In terms of Team Liquid, I was really surprised, honestly, to see Boxy was still playing. After last season, he had the time off. There was talks about, how he needed this personal time. Questions, was he sick? Was someone else in his family sick? What was happening? We don't know, but we know that he had taken significant amount of time off. And I guess I was thinking that if there was going to be a change in roster for Team Liquid, it might be that Boxy had stepped away because of these things that had gone on. So I was a little bit more surprised to see how this roster changed in general. I was also a bit, this roster has been together for 4 years. The previous Team Liquid roster had been together for 4 years because they played 2 years or so under Alliance or close to, and then they did 2 years under Team Liquid banner. So it was interesting to see what they changed and who they changed and what was happening. And they did such a crappy job overall in the announcements and stuff, and I was so disappointed with that too. They had the one video for Matumba Man, but like Zai's announcement, which was really big, and it was kind of the first that kicked off a lot of the other announcements. It just was done, I think, so poorly, and that was disappointing as well. So it really makes me wonder kind of what's going on in Team Liquid right now.
Yeah, what's more disappointing for me, it's exactly that this 4-year roster got, tore apart. They each found something else, and there was no comment, no nothing on it. It's just like, a group of 5 players played qualifiers for TI. They didn't make it, so we are splitting, and there's nothing to be said about it, really. But this team, the old Liquid team, played together for 4 years. They're promoting so much the family, the friendship, everything that kept them together, and now they just split ways with no words. It was awkward, strange, and yeah.
I think
I didn't
knowing
like
these
it.
guys, it probably went something like this. I'll tell you, it probably went something like the Taiga guy got an offer from OG to try out for them, and he said yes. Quickfall was like, yo, guys, I just want to start streaming. I'm a bit tired of competitive. Let me become a streamer for Team Liquid, and we'll see after. We'll see what happens. Usually it's his famous words. And then, Palm, there are 3 people left. Now what you gonna do? They probably then spoke to Blitz and decided who to try to get for their team. I am almost 100% sure there was like no such thing as bad blood between them. It's just like sometimes these guys just make decisions on a whim. And,
but see, this is your insight, and it's great to have it. And probably a few more people that know them better, the players, understand that there is no bad blood between them. But for the general audience, for the guy that only opens Twitter once a week or reads Reddit, it makes you wonder what happened there that nobody comments on this, So you, as somebody who is not close to them, you might understand exactly the opposite. And it's great that you just mentioned.
I mean, Dota players overall have been bad with socials. Like, I don't even remember. I did an interview just like 3 months ago, and the interviewer was like, dude, you have no idea how many times I have to beg Dota players to finish an interview with me or to do an interview with me. Like, I don't know. They just have this feeling that you can just be a professional gamer and never, be on camera or never make a statement or, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, that's so true though.
But it's also weird because I mean Team Liquid, it's not like they're only in Dota. I mean, they have other game divisions and they handle things and across the board and everything. So, the org at some point should be stepping in and saying, hey, let's get some of this a little bit more organized and at least, bid a decent farewell to people, but and clear some of this up. But anyway, yeah, you said Taiga to OG, which is another big I mean, it's an overhaul completely, if you really think about it. Misha is there, who was the coach for TI10, but all the players actively playing and competing is a completely new lineup. And so you were saying about Taiga might have got an offer to try out or play for OG. Do you think he kind of knew in advance that it would be a lot of more upcoming Division 2 newer faces he'd be playing with when they approached him? Or do you think it was kind of like, hey, OG, I'm going to go play for them, and then was a little bit more surprised to see what this lineup was going to be like? And
It's hard to say, honestly, because I'm not really sure how OG operates, but if Taiga is young, like 25 under, he probably was like, yo, I'm gonna have a mentor like No Tail Seb, high salary, probably get to know new people. We're stuck on Liquid 40 years, blah blah blah, and that kind of might have been his rationale, In Dota, it's kind of hard. It's really hard because, for example, in my opinion, Team Spirit was never a TI winning material team. But you go to TI and then you win a game and then another and then another and then like you just take this like super energy that just no one can stop you and then you win TI. So a lot of players dream of this, like maybe this is the roster, maybe this is. Last 2 or 3 years we hadn't had big shuffles because people kind of gave up on that dream. But as you can see now, it's back up again. Maybe this is the guy we need. Maybe, So I'm not sure what was going on Taiga's mind, but it definitely
well,
seems something that you could just jump on the hype train because your coaches are who they are and the org
what
is
do you
who it
think
is.
of this OG roster? I mean, Misha and stuff.
I know Misha and Taiga, but I absolutely have no idea who these other three guys are. I've met them in pubs, but in pubs they were just some toxic dudes, nothing else. Like I have no idea, like really. But Taiga is a really good player. He's a good four. Misha, I used to speak with him quite some. We had plans forming teams together in the past, especially right after I came back from US during that Leviathan area. But I don't know. Misha is good. He's a good captain and a good probably drafter. So makes sense that they took these two. I'm not so sure about the other three though. I've seen them play. They look good, but I mean, pubs are different from competitive, right?
It's worth mentioning that both Hansha and ATF are 16-year-old, right? So we just spoke at the beginning about the fresh blood. They are like, they embody that perfectly. It's, for me, it's a bit strange because you speak about team spirit and say these young dudes, this fresh blood that just want TI, so the dream is possible. We are again back to what everyone thinks about TI, that anyone can win it. But if you think about team spirit, they've been together for a while. Yellow Submarine, they played a year or two before this TI. They weren't just playing a DPC a few months ago and then boom, they win TI. While with this OG roster, 3 of them, they are really new dudes.
Yeah, and the problem is that Team Spirit were not really new. Like I played with Miposhka, like I don't even know since when, and I think Misha and one other guy are same type of boat. It's like 1 or 2 new guys at most, and they're not really like new. Like these Space Hansha and ATF. Like these guys, I quit Dota for a year and a half. I came back and they were all there. Like that type of new. Like these guys probably only played Dota 3-4 years max, or something like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think having too much new blood in team is never good. Simply because there's just no way for you to actually balance your team well enough for you to win. You have too much time to invest separately on each of them, on what they should do. Don't be scared, go in type of stuff. And yeah, that can just take forever.
Well, I mean, on the opposite side of having too much new blood, then you have teams like, Team Secret, who is comprised of this kind of superstar, veteran type of roster. We've got Nisha, Sumal, Ice Ice Ice, Yapser, and Puppy playing in there all together. It's kind of like the other side of the spectrum then, any surprises in what you saw with Team Secret or?
I don't know. To me, like I said at the beginning, it's crazy wild how these guys come up with these type of rosters together. Secret is like an amazing team with amazing players, but then you see like there's just too many greedy type of player in your team. Basically, like in order for your team to be at the best condition, you need to win every lane. So everyone has farm and they can share their contribute what they're good at, right? Like you have Nisha, super player, but he needs a lot of space. You have Sumail. I always like the idea of the old Team Liquid, basically Team Nigma, where they had Matu playing these space-making Venomancers, Vipers, Lone Druid type of guys, and then you had Miracle playing hard carry type of guys. That kind of concept was always super good and made the team functioning a lot easier. When you just have like 5 superstars slapped in your face, I mean, I don't know, this Team Secret lineup is super crazy good when you just look at it, but not entirely sure how it'll play out. Nisha just went to his old role in carry, I guess, because Sumail is mid, right?
Yes, yes.
So they both went revert roles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good to see them back in their roles, but as you just said, I'm not sure how they function together. I mean, the Ice crazy factor there, and the randomness and the greediness in his play. And Yabzor as well. I mean, he's one of the most greedy force, right?
Yeah. I
He's
mean,
not
last time I
exactly-
saw Yapsor underfarmed was at TI with Elder Titan, and Team Secret lost the series because that's how they work. Like they get themselves ahead on every lane and they just win. And this is a problem with these type of like super greedy lineups, that some players don't function as good without farm. It's just their concept of playing the game. That's it.
Yeah, one reasons, I mean, of course, I don't know. I didn't talk to them, but in my mind is like that. Neither Ice or Poppy are young anymore. They are towards the end of the career, to be honest. They didn't get to play together until now, so I guess it makes perfect sense for them to try together. It's also Ice's first time in Europe. I think he has only CIS and South America as regions that he didn't play in his
Southeast
career.
Asia.
South America, not Southeast Asia.
He played
He
Southeast
didn't
Asia.
play for
that
South
he didn't
America
play.
and for-
Yeah.
So he just checked Europe now.
Yeah.
If you want, I mean, those are my reasons for this roster, because otherwise I'm like, why?
I don't know. I'm a big fan of these guys, honestly, and I've played with and against them millions of games in pubs or even competitive. I just would like for them to have success, like I'm not trying to, be like, no, you can't have success because I've said so. It's mostly like, you just picture Ice, and he's this Timber last pick player that carries you the game. But in order for that to happen, you can't pick him like on first phase, like EG did to him. Because then you have basically a potential guy who will win your game being on a tough situation for him to do that. And if you're the carry, which would be RTZ in this case, is underperforming, you're just stuck. The whole TI, you're just gonna suck. There's no other way to win. So this is a problem with these type of rosters. I mean, I'm sure Poppy at least will know how to make this work a bit better, because he is more experienced, because he has had different types of rosters to maneuver and play
Puppy
with.
can maybe make it work, but will the other players listen so well? I mean, there's a lot of experience and
They
potential
have
egos
to.
on this team,
No, they have to. I think the idea is that when you're in Poppy's team, you're playing for him in that sense, right? Like you wouldn't join Poppy's team and expect to be the captain of the team. because this is not a stack or whatever. This is team secret that's been going on for forever now.
That happened just once, and that roster failed so miserably. It's the 2014, I guess, or the first
the first
superstar.
roster. Yeah,
that
Kuroki,
with
no
no
tail,
tail.
fly. Yeah.
That,
I mean
that failed
that roster,
miserably.
but that roster was crazy wild because Kuro was playing carry, Fly was offlane, like everyone was just not in their element pretty much.
Yeah, but now on paper, looking at this team secret, you expect that to them to absolutely crush this DPC. Not that they didn't the previous year. They were just perfectly fine in that formula.
The problem is Secret always crushes DPC. It's the
and
TI.
Then LAN.
It's the TI. No, it's just the TI usually that traps them. So I guess
but they're
the big
getting
picture
closer
would...
and closer, right?
That's
Fourth
true
place,
as well.
third place. Who knows
Place
what
by
happens?
place.
Yeah. Well.
But then you also have. I'm just curious. Team Nigma made no changes, and yet they didn't even get to TI. They had a pretty poor overall DPC season. I think that was a bit of a surprise to me to see that they didn't make any changes at all. I know that there's a lot of talk about how, they are kind of really trying to promote more of the Mensa region and be together because of this kind of a thing. But that was something that surprised me. Are you surprised to see a roster like that when they don't make a change after kind of struggling for so long, and especially not making TI?
I don't know. I think Nigma not disbanding or changing players makes sense to some extent because they invited a young player like LTW who is a carry player. Miracle is also a carry type of player, even though he plays mid or whatever role. So for them, it kind of makes sense that they suck their first year and then work through to make it work on the second year, right? And this is something I would expect even from someone like EG. Like you take this Nightfall type of guy who is super greedy and you put him on offlane. You're not gonna hopefully expect to win that immediate year because that's just not gonna happen. And then you work for the next year because this guy is so talented that he can make it work. And in my opinion, like what Nigma did is rather smart, even if people like don't see it because they're too hungry for results. You took this young guy who plays Dota 24 hours a day, less talent, you mold him the way you want him to be, and then hopefully this year they'll bring much more positive results.
So in other words, what Nigma does now, it's what Virtus Pro should have done. Keep that Nightfall Epic Kid and push with him because he's super good. It was just his first year. It was nothing wrong with the top 6 at TI at your first ever TI.
The problem is I don't think VP kicked him necessarily. Like you said earlier, it's the player problem. Like 2-3 players are against you, and then org pretty much has to decide whether they keep you or them, right? And I think in their minds, probably the GPK +2 makes more sense than the Nightfall and Save in this case. To me, that's still dumb, and this is where the org should say like, yo, dudes, you have no idea what you're saying. Just shut up and play this roster. But that's the downside, that the org doesn't have too much power in this type of scenario. Because like you said, this VP roster, in my opinion, was insanely good. I have absolutely no idea why they even changed. Like, it makes no sense to me. This guy picks Dawnbreaker as a carry at TI and puts you on top 6. Like, how in the world do you just kick him? Like, it makes no sense to me. But it's CIS.
We don't know if it's a kick or if it's like he got approached, and when someone like Arteezy or Bulba, but for Epic Kid, I just imagined if Arteezy message you and say, yo, you're so good, I want you in my team. You at 7-year-old will say yes.
No, I honestly doubt it. I honestly doubt it.
Okay. But I think there was a message put out right after TI from Virtus Pro that basically said there was these internal issues and everything. Like they kind of already outed the fact that they were having problems internally. And and were trying out new positions and new people and things like that. So they kind of alluded that there were issues with those players, whether it was the players not being happy, like the two that left, like, that they were trying out new positions for, or if it was the rest of the team, but they definitely implied that. But yeah, so then he goes, okay, so now switch to NA because now we have EG. So we saw EG take on Ramses about 2 years ago as kind of like a CIS player, and that didn't go well, but that was primarily because of the pandemic. That completely thwarted that entire roster and screwed everything up. So, that's kind of like let's erase that from history and start over. So now we have another CIS player heading over to play in NA. And EG's roster now is Jarex, who came back from kind of his retirement or his break. It didn't go to OG, but now went to EG. Nightfall, Arteezy, Abed, and Crit. And let's ignore the fact of the normal memes of is this even an NA team or anything. But so what are you thinking? I mean, EG is gonna still probably be on the top, obviously, of the DPC season in NA. What do you think of this lineup though?
Nothing to say.
That's the wrong
Another
region.
team.
Nothing to say.
It's a bit, the timing, it's a bit weird, or not weird, but it just makes you wonder, or think about it, that Jerax is returning now when OG is retired. All his former teammates, TI champions, nobody's playing anymore this season. He comes back. He goes back to playing with Crit, who was like the first who left the OG, right?
Yeah,
so
the Crit flight
you look a bit into the history there. A few years ago, we would just say that Crit betrayed OG and everything. Now they are back together. Okay, guess.
But without Fly, because then Fly went.
And then Fly sees this and say, okay, I'm into Southeast Asia somewhere. Get me out of this. It's a weird shuffle. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense though, because I'm pretty sure Jerax wouldn't function with Fly, simply because probably clashing ideas, the way the old OG wanted to run versus the new one.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that, honestly, I think for Jerax, coming back to a new atmosphere might be better for him, and overall he might overperform because he stepped down, right? He became position 5. He's just gonna purely focus on drafting and shot calling and stuff like that, and being 2 times TI winner, 4 times major winner or whatever. This guy has the experience that it takes, and it honestly is the only guy EG will listen to, because yeah, I mean, you're not gonna bring I don't know, like let's say Insania, for example, in EG and be like, yo, captain of these guys, because after 2 matches, it wouldn't work out anymore. But for Jerax, this might be a lot easier than it seems.
Yeah, okay, so Jerax takes the in-game leadership. I'm still having very big problems seeing Jerax playing 5, but I just have to wait and see how that functions. But in terms of drafting, I'm still not sure if that goes to Bulba 100%, or it's now Jerax who takes charge on that too.
I am honestly never convinced that Bulba has 100% of the draft. There's just
but he has a lot of ideas, right?
I honestly don't even think so, because for me, I know the players very well. I mean, from the outside perspective, like I know Arteezy likes Turboblade, Naga, and X Hero, right? And if I see Bulba drafting, he's not gonna be like, yo, listen, my man, today you're gonna play Phantom Lancer and that's it. Like, that just will never happen, right? He's gonna still draft the Arteezy's heroes. So in a sense, it's not really a Bulba call. It's more like a compromise call by everyone. And in most teams draft together, actually. Like you have 5 players, each of their own suggests their own hero, but one or two guys make the final call usually, or one guy, depending which team. So for example, let's say Arteezy said, I want this hero. Then it's between Fly and Bulba to, or was between Fly and Bulba to make the final decision. So I doubt there's a lot of this Bulba drafts type of stuff. I honestly so doubt it.
Okay, but the way I saw Evil Geniuses until now is that they do everything possible to have a good game for Arteezy. You know, they secure his farm, they wait for his farm, they play around him so much all the time.
They expect him to be on a cliff. No, that wasn't part
no,
of
but
the plans.
everything they do is for Arteezy to have a good game. Am I wrong in that?
You're not wrong.
So what I'm curious now is the Crit Edition gonna change that in any way? Because if you still play around Arteezy, if everything is about Arteezy going forward,
I mean, this has definitely been, yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is that this has been the Achilles heel for EG for the longest time. They just don't adapt to a different playstyle than this. For example, this TI, I always watch Arteezy. I even used to speak to him a lot about ideas and stuff, but he super underperformed. It was a tiny monkey Ursa patch type of a stuff, not as much as TB and Naga, even though TB made some appearances, and he just couldn't shine. Meanwhile, it was all spirits patch. So you had Void Spirit, Ember Spirit, Storm Spirit. And Abed is the best spirit player in the entire world. So instead of, example, EG being like, yo guys, listen, Arteezy, bro, you pick this Necrolite, you go bottom, and you stay against 3 heroes and no one cares, right? And we're gonna all play for Abed and win this TI, and then we'll talk when we're back. They still try to play for Arteezy. And the guy is playing not on his comfort, underperforming, and they still keep playing for him. So this happened last year, or this TI basically. So this is always has and will be the problem for EG until they decide to play for who's having a good game rather than which hero Arteezy is playing. Whether they take Nightfall, Jerax, or whoever, it doesn't even matter to this point. That's why they probably are hoping in their heads somehow that when they add Jerax and Nightfall, it's going to change, but it's not. Unless Jerax can force change it with calls. Because if the captain tells you, listen, guys, you're not going to play around bottom, which would be Arteezy, we're going to play with Nightfall and we're going to make his game work, then that will change automatically, right? Yeah. So this is where I think Jerax might actually impact the game differently, because he'll make them play around different parts of the map. He'll make them do different things, and it'll be forced that no one plays around Arteezy anymore, and he's just gonna do his own thing.
Hopefully.
If you think about it, though, like EG is still going to pretty much, I mean, I think it would be a surprise to people if EG, still wasn't on top of the NA. And the way that the DPC is set up is we have this 6 weeks of this league play, and then the major. So this gives them 6 weeks basically to play, get into a major, like, with their roster. Like it shouldn't be an issue for them to be able to secure a place in the major. And then they'll have to kind of go up against, these other teams, which, for international and everything else. But they're still at least building their points. They're still building some time to adjust and everything like that. You think that works in their favor then, and that's why they're not as maybe so concerned, because in their region, they're still going to be able to secure those points, secure those places in the majors, and then they have the rest of the kind of the season to work on adjusting their international play style, so to speak.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at the rosters, example, OG used to be a huge threat. Now it's not, at least not in the beginning of the season, right? Until much later. Same with Alliance. And you pretty much only have Team Secret that might pop off immediately that you have to worry about. Because in my opinion, even Team Liquid has some issues in their roster. Not as much as like they can be fixed, but they need time, right? Make a carry player for 4 years, now back to mid. And Zai played off lane for 4 years or whatever, now back to position 4. So in a sense, for EG, this roster that they have should be pretty much good internationally right away. The difference is how long or how much can it peak? Like, are you in a top 3 TI, or because for Dota people, always is about TI. You could win every major and every tournament. If you go place bottom 10 at TI, you know, you failed in a sense, even though it's not a failure, but that's how people look at it. So in my opinion, EG has a head start of everyone except Team Secret in terms of the shuffle. How it will pan out in the end, that is something we'll have to see, I would say.
And no doubt that the DPC, at least the first season, would be theirs. I don't know how Undying, even though they are not shuffling, can really challenge that first place in the DPC season.
What
God
about
knows
the new
how
Quincy crew?
exactly. God knows how Quincy crew. I mean, to me, what's strange with this Quincy crew team is that they are not an organization. They don't have the financial support to bring everyone in NA to do a proper boot camp. So these are players who make yet another an effort to play together, to move to NA, to stay in whatever Airbnbs or rent a house or on their own money to make this dream happen. It's not Evil Geniuses who can afford to fly not Ramses, Nightfall and so on to NA every now and then. So I don't know.
Right,
how
because
it's
you're
gonna
taking
work.
3 players now from various different regions too, because Ponlo is from Southeast Asia.
Exactly.
With a whole different play style. Then you have Kezu and Milan from Europe, and of course, your kind of cornerstones are still Yarwar and CCNC. But 3 players now have to fly over to North America. They're gonna have to live and survive. They're gonna have to play together. I mean, I guess Kezu and Milan can play from Europe with ping, but definitely not Ponlo. Like, there's definitely
They
going.
cannot play with ping, I guarantee you, because you're
They cannot
not
play with
ever
ping
gonna
and
beat EG or even whatever Undying with 130 ping. I won NA qualifiers from Europe, and it's not fun. It's hard. It's really hard.
they cannot play with ping, and at some point they would want to boot camp. They need to before a major, before the last 3 games in a DPC where you might, push for a major spot, or it's gonna be extremely hard for them. Extremely hard. I mean, I see it as a brave or no options.
I was gonna say it's
It's
probably
type
just
of
not.
no
thing.
options.
No. It's not as bad, guys. Listen. For example, if your only competition would be EG in this case, it's kind of a free region, right? If you basically are confident that you can beat Undying. So any time there's a DPC or whatever, you're guaranteed to be in the upper division, Division 1, whatever, or even qualify to TI. So for them, it's not as bad as you guys think, because even if they never win against EG, it doesn't matter to them, as long as they make it international.
Right. But then you think about last year, Undying was not that far to actually, be. NA has only 2 spots, top 2. I mean, every regions. No, China
Yeah.
has 3. So it's just the first 2 places in the DPC, and you have Undying, who you hope to beat, but then you have 4 Zoomers who this year are 4 NA plus Costa Bile. So they have Gunnar, Mu, Zifrik, Husky. I'm not saying that they're a contender, a clear contender, but I don't think you can disregard them completely and say, yeah, this is no competition.
Yeah, but you don't disregard them. But thinking about EU and then moving to NA, it's kind of like, yeah, sure, might be free region.
Okay.
It's always been like this, unfortunately, and that's why most of the EU players look to take a peek in NA because of this exact same problem that always happens. I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna just go and win, obviously, because I honestly don't even know what this roster is capable of. I've never seen these players play on these respective roles. As far as I'm concerned, Kezu is playing position 4, right? Milan 5 and Ponlo 3. I've never seen Milan 5 or Kezu 4. And I have no idea about the Ponlo guy's gameplay or game style or whatever, since I haven't dabbed too much in SEA region. So they might just lose to Undying 2 or 3-0 and come home. Who knows?
Or they might just be exactly like that. NA is the safest bet, and be there in the top 2, and
Just
that's it. Because
stick it
it's
out, stick it out, stick it out, and then time for TI qualifiers and hope that
Oh yeah.
Not even
EG and, you know, gets in, maybe even one other NA team gets in with an automatic
you also
invite, and
have to
then
think. You
boom,
also have to
you
think that
slide
this
into the
DPC.
qualifier for TI.
Yeah, and you also have to think about the fact that this year the DPC has like more and more points and more money in the each season as we progress. So there are less points in the first season, more points in the second season, and the biggest chunk of points are in the third season. So yeah, if they peak or find their stride at the right moment, they might just secure a major spot, or I don't know.
I mean, looking at the big picture, honestly, some of these teams made calculated moves, right? Because they're not there to just win everything. They just want to be in TI. That's kind of the dream for every Dota player, or most of them. That even if your year is not so good, if you go to TI, you're 100K plus, and once you get there, you kind of get a name to yourself, and you are also part of these parties and roster shuffles. Because when you skip TI, you also get on a bad team. That has always been the case. Like you miss TI, you're never gonna end up in a good team because in after party you weren't there, you weren't part of the discussion, and yeah, that's it. So I think ideally for them, even if they don't do as well in the beginning of the season, as long as they pick it up later, they're fine. And these guys are not looking to win every tournament. I'm 100% sure about that. They just wanna at the end of the year have a spot at TI, and that's it.
It's about the grind.
Yeah.
So we
And
were saying
speaking-
about I was to say we were saying about the DPC season being where the first major has the least amount of points and the last has the most. Do you think this is why Talon, for example, now shifting over to SEA, was willing to kind of take on this new roster, have to go through open qualifiers, and potentially even have a team that's in Division 2, even though they have a team made up of pretty big players and known players, veteran players and everything. Because the first season won't be as impactful, they'll make it up to the first division in the second season, and then that's where the points start racking up more. Why they were willing to take a chance in the Southeast Asia scene to make their entry, even though it might be into Division 2 right away.
I guess for
Because it's
them,
that long-term view.
I guess for Talon as an organization, it makes all sense to be in Southeast Asia. It would be hard for them to actually start something in a region that's not, close to them physically as an organization, as a entity. The calculated move, I think it comes from Fly, who says, okay, I'm going to Southeast Asia and I'm going to start this and I'm going to grind my way into upper division. A lot of the players, if you think about how first major looks, usually in a normal, non-COVID, non-pandemic situation, most of the players skip first the first majors. Most of the teams say we want the actual break after TI. So I guess for Fly, it's just like, okay, this looks good actually for me.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess that's
and SCA, it's a bit interesting because I'm not really sure who are the top contenders. I mean, I know this talent roster, but I don't know about the others. But I think primarily goal is at the end of the year to be able to perform, not as much as at the beginning, because the same concept actually happens in League 2. Most people just straight up suck the first one or two tournament because they're literally just chilling. They're just taking their time after TI. It's their worlds, right? But they're just taking their time and picking themselves up, and then they start to perform. I didn't know this change that now DPC gives you more points towards the middle and the end of the season than the beginning. But this makes even more sense, right? With the idea that I'm saying, because they don't need to, there's no stress to pick up the first DPC points because no one is prepared and then just take away like Alliance did last year, right? Now there's no stress like that. Now you just take your time, grind it up, and see where it goes.
Yeah, and I guess in Southeast Asia we also have to point out that we have Taiwan or T1
Yeah,
with
T1.
no roster change, which I guess is great for them because they had an amazing year prior to TI10. It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, T1 is
Yeah,
strong.
it's strong. TNC, though, I don't know what to say about this roster. They have, I don't even know who is Young Gods, if it's another nickname or no. It's just an up and coming player, I guess.
I think he was just an up and coming player. Yeah.
So young blood. Then you have players coming from former OB Neon and Feby in the five. To be honest, to me, this is not the strongest roster I've seen.
Wait, was Obi Neon the one who kicked their player after like 2 weeks? They announced the roster,
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
the poor guy already got shafted. And
Yeah, I'm not even sure if that was a trial or what's been happening there. They played a lot of like tier 3 tournaments after
yeah, I was to say, I think
TI.
there was like a small local kind of things going on in Southeast Asia, but like
Yeah,
BTS
it's
type of stuff. But yeah.
no, Southeast Asia, it's just so hectic. And we've talked to March. I mean, you heard it from March so many times in the previous year that this region lacks leadership captains. Yes.
Yeah.
They have
Every
the
region
talent, the raw
lacks them.
talent, but nobody knows how to keep them together or to mentor them, or uh, is what Fly brings into Southeast Asia right now, right, with talent. But they will be in the Division 2 if they even make it to open qualifiers. They lost the first open qualifier, which was a surprise to me. We'll see. I guess the first season would be between T1 Fnatic and even Team SMG looks better to me than most of the other roster. SMG have Mid One, Moon, Raging Potato, Afu, and Roger. This makes more sense to me than what TNC has. And then Fnatic have Raven, Armel, Jobs, who is now off lane, DJ, and Januel.
My God, this guy changes his lanes more than I change my socks. This
I
Jabs
know.
guy. I mean, this guy is like really good, but goddamn, I have no idea. Every time I open Twitch, this guy's playing something else. It's crazy.
It is. And he's, passing the captainship between him and DJ, and you never know what's happening there.
Yeah. I mean, I like these guys, but I just feel bad because honestly, switching roles is not as easy as people make it seem. That's the thing, is that there's so many little things that you are not able to do from the get-go, and it takes a lot of practice for you to pull off. For example, most offlaners need to know how to play survival as well. Sometimes you just get, like, let's say you pick Sand King, right? They pick anti-mage +1. Like, you're just gonna get shafted completely in lane, and then that's you're gonna have to do something with that. Like, you're never expected to be like, all right, you can just be completely useless and we'll win without you. Like, it never works like that in Dota. And some of these things you can't learn by just, playing a day or two or a week or a month. Same with mid, right? You see this nothing to say guy comes mid, like, this guy is crazy talented. You make mistakes, you're just gonna feed. Same with Abed. So I don't understand how these guys come up with, listen, I'm just gonna roll swap and carry you guys this year. I'm like, how? But yeah, I mean, no one knows.
No one knows, but at the same time, because we just touch on the fact that this DPC offers less points in the first season, in the first tour, it makes me think that those are like, trial rosters, if you want. Test and see how things go in the first season and change from there and see what you can adjust, how.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting
very...
everyone to make it to TI in this exact formula from the start of the season.
Yeah.
I'm really not even secret, to be honest.
I'm not really informed with how DPC and roster locks work. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to make bigger statements. So I don't know, like, when you're allowed to swap in whatsoever. But I think Secret is good. Unironically, like, they have a good roster. They just need to find a way to make it work. Same with EG. I honestly think EG is good and better than last year. Example. Removing the ice factor, I think Fly was kind of kind of not performing really. Like nowadays, fives needs to do more than just plant wards. And in my opinion, Fly's gameplay on position 5 is something that EG does not need. They need a guy who will buy Glimmer Cape and Lotus Orb and sit behind Arteezy type of guy. So Jerax might be like a huge bump up for them for that. Other than that, I think the other rosters will be mostly, we'll see.
Yeah.
And
So
have you looked at China at all?
No, I
Oh
haven't
my
looked at
God.
China at all. I don't look at China because it's usually worse in Europe. Same players just shuffling with each other and hope for the best.
Well, this year you have some new faces in the upper division. The good part with China is that through the last years they kind of invested in their tier 2 scene, and you keep seeing popping one player, two players, even Nothing to Say was at his first TI. Of course, he's not exactly a newcomer, but whatever. This year you have full rosters that, if you look at the players, you never heard about them. It's eHome who took the entire roster, or 4 players from Phoenix Gaming from last year. Then Phoenix Gaming comes with 5 players that I've never heard of in my life. LBZS promotes from the lower division. So again, 5 players. Let's say you heard about CatU before, but these are 3 rosters that are completely new. It's interesting, but I guess the biggest surprise is some missing in action players, or some people that will not be in the first DPC. And you kind of understand why. FY, Sylar, Young are the 3 biggest missing players for me. FY just said that he wants to take a break to solve some health issues and whatnot. But we don't know anything about Young. We don't know anything about Sylar, if this is another Sylar retirement or just skipping a season, or we don't know.
Chinese retirement doesn't ever bother me, honestly. These guys always
3
come
weeks.
back. Yeah. Has anyone big retired in EU or CS? So that's a bigger question, because I don't really remember any big name.
Retirement?
Yeah, or
I mean,
like
it's
just
OG.
No-tell. Yeah, all of
no. Yeah, OG. But OG kind of announced during TI, right? Like it was
most,
kind
yeah,
of
except for I think no-tell.
I mean, once Seb started having his eye problems, I just knew OG is gone.
Yeah, but in terms of no-tail, we don't know what Saxa going to do.
Yeah,
He's not
Saxa.
here.
Mhm.
But I'm expecting them to show to come back at some point this year before TI, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah, in some stack or some sort.
yeah. Even the fact that for Saxa, there's no announcement. Either I take a break, I become a streamer, I go with the family, live in the mountains, whatever, nothing. So you expect him to show up and come back at some point after the first season or something.
I was surprised not to see Weeha on a team. I thought he was gonna end up back somewhere this season. So that kind of surprised me, not even in a stack.
I heard some rumors about Ace team with Weeha or something, but I'm not sure how true that is. Or I don't know if they came public with it. Because Ace was also supposed to come back. I'm sure you guys know Ace, ex-Team Secret carry.
Yeah, no, he's back. He's back with Team Tickless. They call themselves. They have a spot in the upper division, actually. So it's Ace, Tofu, Celery, Boom, and Dryho.
Yeah, the Russian guy.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Boom, Tofu, and Celery. Celery and Boom are from Viking last year.
Yeah, Viking.
Right.
Yeah. So this team exists. It's in the upper division. I heard a lot of rumors about Weha as well. None of them come to fruition, and unfortunately for him, this is like a way too long break by now. Since he's got kicked from Nigma.
Yeah.
He had nothing.
Yeah, it's hard being a Dota player, honestly. You have to keep tabs and talk to people all the time in order for you to stay in their mind and rosters, and some people are not good at that. And that's
Yeah,
when it
Weha is
bites you.
definitely not a most outgoing or this social animal that keeps tabs. Definitely he's not that kind of person. And
Yeah. It's always rough for those type of people.
but we are in China. Somehow we got back to where in China, I guess, besides the fact that we have these players missing,
Are
one of
all
the
of them back from TI back in China? Or because I
I
know
don't
we
think
have
so.
a postpone and delay still for the first
Yeah,
season from
Paparazzi.
China as well. They have
some
to
elephant players are
later.
still here. Yeah, some elephant players are still here, and FY is actually not going to play the first season, so that's not a problem for him. Or of course it is a problem that he's still in Romania or in Europe. Some of them went through Portugal or to Spain or to Netherlands even, trying to bypass somehow the quarantines from different regions, different countries. But yeah, with elephant disbandment, we have a small LGD, PSG LGD reunion in the lower division, actually. Eurus, who now is back to paparazzi. Speaking of some
He's in
players,
EU.
he plays with Extreme Gaming in lower division in China. He is back paparazzi, not Eurus anymore, and he reunited kind of. No, this is not the LGD reunion. I'm speaking nonsense. Paparazzi, PYW, and DY. It's VG Gaming, I guess. Reunion.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's happening in the lower division. In upper division, though, where is Royal Never Give Up? They have now 3 former LGD. They have maybe Somnus, Chalice, and X Nova at
Okay.
RNG. So, and that's upper division. And somehow I feel like this new RNG team looks better than what they had. A team that
And elephant.
but elephant is not there anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah, elephants. What a crazy project, and what a disappointing ending to them.
Yeah.
There's also a bit curious that Invictus Gaming took Fade, and you don't know what happened there. If it was Kaka who didn't want to continue his contract, they just said that the contract came to an end, and through agreements, blah blah, Kaka is no longer with us. Kaka was there for 2 years and something. He actually built this team for them, and this year they will continue with Fade, who's also one of the Chinese players jungling with retirements. Now I'm retired. 2 weeks later, I'm coming back for Aster. No, I don't like this. I retire again. And back and forth all the year, 2020, 2021 was like that for him. Now he's officially joining Invictus Gaming and will play in the upper division. We'll see.
Chinese scene is a bit out of my reach, mostly because I don't watch their games, but also their shuffles are very interesting to me. Forced contracts end. I want to retire for a week and a half. Not even retire, just go play pubs instead or stream. It's
or play
hard
World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I did a news at some point about some retired players that did world first on some WoW expansion, during the
exactly.
Then 3 weeks later they were playing qualifiers for something in Dota.
Yeah, I only start watching Chinese scene towards the middle plus when there's actual teams and won't be disbandments and random retirements, because otherwise it's a bit unstable from a foreign point of view, because I don't know what's going on the inside. I'm not really close and personal with any of the guys to know. Oh, I'm not retiring, I'm just waiting to join OG like Anna at the end of the year type of a situation, In Europe, this, but I didn't know in China at least.
Well, the good news in China, or the most exciting fact for me, is that PSG LGD didn't do any roster change. They announced it right after TI. We are staying together. We are going again. And I think this is commendable and great. And I just can't wait to see how they're gonna do this next year with more time. And I'm happy for them, to be honest. They had a super good year, super good TI, even though it was second place. Nothing to complain about or to think that maybe it wasn't a good idea.
No, I mean, second place is really great as well. People are just too hung up on the first place, especially in Dota like TI. Second place is amazing. I don't know. I am much of a hungry winner myself, and I hate second place, but when you look at the bigger picture, you play good all year, you get second place TI. Why would you ever roster swap or shuffle or whatever? Makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, for AME, for LGD as a whole, this is, I guess, for most of them, the first time they get to second place, except Ame. Ame is the second time he reaches the grand finals after 2018. In 2018 was third place. Then you have Fate Beyond and E, who obviously are TI champions with wings. They are going for that second aegis. And it's just great to see them pushing together just in the exact same formula, no changes at all there. Pam pam. And with that, we go to South America, where organizations swapped rosters.
Right. I was going to say for the biggest thing in South America is that they just changed names. like there wasn't really that much of a, the shuffle started early, but it was not as impactful. Like they started making some moves, I think almost right away. But it was like you said, swapping of rosters, new organization picking up a roster that dropped out of of an organization. So not that much.
What just happened is that Thunder Predator took the entire no ping roster.
Right.
That's it. Beast Coast, they have no change, which is actually great to see. This is third year, fourth year in a row.
Say this is another one of those like 4-year or something like that rosters. And
then
somebody else just got picked up as their full roster. I guess maybe it was Thunder Predators X roster,
which is now no ping. No.
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 They have a new name. Totally. I can't.
Lava. This is it.
Yeah.
MNZ, Leo Style, Frank Moose, MJZ. They are called Lava, who take the spot of Ego Boys in the upper division. Ego Boys is not existing anymore.
So yeah, so they're mostly just change our names.
Yeah. And just take somebody else's spot, and we are Gucci. We go to upper division, and we are so
taking
great.
somebody else's spot. That's the name of the game. This DPC season is the spot, the highly coveted spot, and how that's controlled and who's controlling it, and that's a whole other can of worms that needs to be addressed, which we will be doing. But this whole spot thing is something, that's we see kind of what's happening because of it. You've got teams like Talon and everything that have to go through upper division, through open qualifiers. They'll play in, Division 2 before they can build themselves up. Then you have teams that are completely newly formed, no competitive experience at all, being able to take a spot of someone else's in a DPC second division. Then you have OG even, who's a completely new roster, gets to slide in because the org has the spot, gets to be right into the first division, regardless of experience or players or anything that they have. And then there was even the issue with, if I'm not mistaken, with B8's spot. And then Valve even stepped into that one to kind of help sort it out. Which, when you think about, well, it's Dendy, but it's chaos with this spot issue stuff. Who should it belong to? One person has full control. They're not with an org. They're not anything. They can sell it. They can hold on to it. They can trade it. They can, do whatever. They can withhold it from other players on the team and kick the rest of the team out of a division spot, even though the rest of the team competed together and had the spot, but now this person wants the spot and they're the owner of it and stuff. It's really quite a mess.
this is such a long discussion to have about how this DPC is
Yes,
and
we're
how
just-
Valve does nothing for regulating somehow the spot ownership, how you trade it between who, how. I mean, League, we have garter here. You see every year big companies, organizations. I just read the other day that Weibo is taking is buying a team in League, so they have an LPL or whatever spot, LCK. These are, of course, there you talk about huge amount of money for Weibo to buy a team, you know, to buy a franchise, to buy a spot. Then you come to Dota and somebody that you never ever heard of has a spot in the DPC, and you wonder how that happened. What's
It's a
happening
free for
here?
all.
It's wild. I don't really know what to even say. I
Yeah,
just read
exactly.
some Reddit thread, and obviously it's Reddit. Who knows how much of it is true or false? But it's crazy.
But Reddit knows it all.
Yeah, Reddit knows it all. Sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Bottom line is that you, Pandora, gonna dive a bit into this. We have something prepared for you in this regard, and I'm trying to understand the NA situation in the lower division. And we won't touch too much on that until we have the full, complete picture of it and understanding of what happened, right?
Well, not just that, but the whole DPC slot ownership in general, you know, how there could be some changes, what are some possible solutions, and what's the mess that it's causing, you know. There's a lot to dive into with that. And again, it comes back to Valve's laissez-faire kind of hands-off approach to it all, and how much does it help or not help, and even be counterintuitive to what they try to do and attempt to do or not. So good things.
Well, with that in mind, we're gonna thank Garter once again for coming and joining us today. And I hope you come more than just once. We'll get to talk to you about more things than the just shuffles.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to join you guys more when the rosters progress and make some appearances, because that would be where I can give even more inside information in terms of teams and drafts and things they do.
Thank you again for coming. Can't wait to have you
Thank you.
again. With that in mind, we're gonna just wait for the DPC to actually start. Open qualifiers are undergoing this week. Some regions start their upper and lower division official matches, first matches on the 29th. Some others start on the 13th of the November. So yeah, DPC is back. We are back.
Ready to go.
And with that in mind, until next time.